This is your USMNT Abroad weekend update from May 3rd to May 5th of 2024. Hi, if you're new here, I'm Filippo, and welcome to Tactical Manager TV, and welcome to the US Men's National Team Abroad series, where every single Monday we update you on how the Yanks did abroad over the weekend. Now, I have nothing really to say to open this episode besides to kindly request for you to hit the like button. It's a great way to support the channel. Another way you can support the channel is by joining our Patreon. The link will be in the description of this video. We do monthly giveaways there, and in June here in Orlando, we're going to be doing a meetup and a pickup soccer event where you can play soccer with me. It'll be lots of fun, trust me. I'll probably nutmeg you, but it'll still be lots of fun. With that said, let's play the intro and let's start the weekend recap. As always, we start with the top 5 leagues in Europe, the first one being the English Premier League. So why don't we go to England and talk about Gio Reyna and Matt Turner from Nottingham Forest, and Austin Trusty from Sheffield, because Nottingham Forest and Sheffield clashed over the weekend. And on Saturday, Gio Reyna and Matt Turner stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes for Nottingham Forest during their 3-1 win over Sheffield. The good news here is that Nottingham Forest put themselves in a good situation to avoid relegation, but at the end of the day, who am I kidding? Gio and Turner will likely not be there next season, which means most of us don't really care if they get relegated. I think that's fair, but they should be fine. Luton Town will likely be the one going down. As for Austin Trusty, he started and played the full 90 minutes for Sheffield, and now with the 3 goals that they conceded in this loss, they have officially hit 100 goals allowed in this English Premier League season. Swindon Town holds the record for the most goals conceded in an English Premier League season, which was back in the 90s when they conceded 100 goals. However, that was in 42 games, while today we only have 38. At the time of this recording, Sheffield has tied the record. So if they concede 1 goal in the last 2 games that are left, they will be the new record holders. And that kind of reminds me of that South Park episode where Bono is the record holder and Randy's trying to break his record of having the biggest shit in the world, and then eventually we find out that Bono was the biggest shit in the world. It's just one of those records that you don't really want to hold on to because it's shit. But hey, who am I to judge? A record's a record. Next up would have been Chris Richards from Crystal Palace, but he plays this Monday against Manchester United. So you know the drill. Drop a comment down below. How did Chris Richards do? Because we record this on Sunday. So we're going to skip Richards, and we're going to talk about A-Rob and Tim Ream from Fulham. And on Saturday, Robinson started and played the full 90 minutes for Fulham during their 0-0 draw with Brentford. Robinson had a good game. He was very good on defense, had a few shots blocked. On the ball, he could have probably done better. The crosses were kind of meh. The passing was okay, not great. But again, overall, he had another good game. As for Tim Ream, he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes. And Fulham probably would have won this game if Raul Jimenez had not wasted a great goal-scoring opportunity in the second half. But he did, and they didn't win the game. It was 0-0. Next up, or last but not least in England, we have Tyler Adams from Bournemouth. And Tyler is still injured. And Bournemouth's coach said it once again that he could be back next week. But he also said the same thing 2 weeks ago. He said Tyler is dealing with back spasms. Last week, I posted a timeline of Tyler's current injury, which goes as follows. He got injured for Leeds in March of 2023. Then he returned as a Bournemouth player in September of 2023, where he played 20 minutes, and then he re-aggravated his injury. He then returned in March of 2024, where he played 2 games for Bournemouth and 2 games for the US Men's National Team, and then he got injured again in early April. And now he hasn't been available for them for at least a month. And at the end of this tweet that I posted, well, I just read it for you, but I just put my take on it. I think Tyler Adams is injury prone, which drove a few people crazy. But again, that was on X or Twitter, which honestly I expect nothing less while using that app, and I love it. I love chaos. But my fellow Americans, look at Tyler's injury history. Not even just this one, but the injuries he had on previous seasons. He does get injured a lot. Prior to this injury, he missed 255 days due to injuries in the past 4 seasons. That is a large amount. It seems like many had no issues calling Gio Reyna injury prone, which honestly, he went through a phase where he was very injury prone. Tyler Adams needs to get consistent minutes and be healthy for a couple months before we shake off that label of injury prone. Until then, he is injury prone. Similar to what happened with Christian Pulisic a while back, but eventually they figured it out. Like, same thing happened with Robin, the Dutch legend, until he went to Bayern Munich. It can happen, and players can adjust and get healthy. As of now, Tyler Adams hasn't been healthy for quite some time. It's been over a year. Okay, time to leave the country that only eats fish and chips, and let's head to the country that only eats pizza and spaghetti, which is Italy, and talk about the Americans that play in the Serie A. The first two being Christian Pulisic and Yunus Musa from Milan. And on Sunday, Pulisic started and played the full 90 minutes for Milan during their 3-3 draw with Genoa. As for Yunus Musa, he was suspended due to yellow card accumulation. With that said, how did Christian Pulisic do? And I'll put it this way. Christian Pulisic snapped out his cold streak with a very good performance. I'd actually go as far as saying that he was probably Milan's best player in this match. Pulisic played as a 10 and he was very bright in the first half. Good off the ball movement, aggressive, taking on defenders. On top of that, he hit the post and also had a nice shot from long range that was saved by the goalkeeper. Both were very close. Pulisic was around 3 inches short from scoring. In the second half, Christian Pulisic wasn't as good, but he was still good, and he got an assist. Pulisic carried the ball on his own from the edge of the box into the box, where he placed a perfect cross for Olivier Giroud to score. I'm honestly going to miss this Pulisic-Giroud duel. It's unfortunate that it will come to an end this summer, as the Frenchmen will be heading to LAFC in Major League Soccer. Now, Pulisic has been a streaky player this season, or actually throughout his club career. So let's hope he closes the season with more performances like this one. And let's hope you have already smashed the like button by now, because we're probably like 8 to 10 minutes into this video. Next up, we have 2 other Americans that play in Italy, and their names are Weston McKennie and Tim Weah from Juventus. And on Sunday, McKennie and Weah both started for Juve during their 1-1 draw with Roma. Tim Weah did fine. He had an okay performance. He was subbed out around minute 59 because he was on a yellow, which he almost got a red for hitting the goalkeeper. And then he also had just made a hard tackle on the midfield. So I guess Allegri subbed him out just to be safe. Weston McKennie was a bit better than Weah, in my opinion. He had a decent game, some good crosses, good defensive moments, some good long balls, some good passes. Nothing outstanding, but also good. McKennie mainly played as a central midfielder, and then late in the game as a right wing back, while Timothy Weah was just a right wing back. I don't know, it's kind of hard to put their performances into words. They weren't bad, but they weren't outstanding. They were fine. Also above average, in my opinion. They weren't bad by any means. With that said, before you continue, a quick word from the sponsor of this video, Underdog Fantasy. If you want to play, the link is in the description. I will be playing during the Copa America, and I normally post my picks on X and Instagram, so you can go check that out as well. And the promo code is TMTV. All of that is in the description of this video. We'll be back in 1 minute. And thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring Tactical Manager TV. Underdog Fantasy is a fun game to play prior to any soccer match, or basketball, or football as well, but we don't talk about those two in Tactical Manager TV. Sometimes basketball during live watch-alongs. I have been playing Underdog Fantasy for over a year now. You can download the app by using the link on the description of this video, and you can also use the promo code TMTV. And Underdog will be matching your first deposit for up to $100. And in the process, you'll be helping the channel avoid bankruptcy. The game I mainly play is called Pick'em. You just click on it, scroll to the soccer section, and pick a player for a specific match and select the stats that you believe will be lower or higher. It's very easy to play, but be smart about your picks because it's not easy to win. I'll be playing some Underdog Fantasy during some match live streams or match live watch-alongs, so stay tuned for that, as I will be forced to cheer for a player or root against him. Now, I am a professional hater, so I'll probably be rooting for the player's downfall. Once again, don't forget to use the promo code TMTV and use the link on the description of this video. Thank you, Underdog Fantasy, for sponsoring the channel. Next up are the Americans that play in Germany in the Bundesliga, and why don't we start with Brenden Aaronson from Union Berlin. And on Sunday, Brendan Aaronson started off the bench and was sent in at halftime when Union Berlin was actually down 3-0. The game ended with Union Berlin losing 4-3, but they almost pulled an impressive comeback. Brendan Aaronson got the assist for their third goal, and it was honestly a pretty good assist. It was a nice one. He settled the ball in the air while in the box, kept his composure in tight spaces to find his teammate for an easy finish. A quality assist. Brendan has quite honestly been playing fairly well since mid-March. Yeah, he was struggling for over a year. Like, the lead season wasn't good, and he was struggling for quite a bit when he arrived at Union Berlin. But ever since he got left out of that US men's national team roster that he was added on later on because of injuries, he's been playing fairly well in the Bundesliga. Next up would have been John Brooks from Hoffenheim, but he stayed on the bench the full 90 minutes on Friday, so we're going to skip John Brooks and go to Joe Scally and Pifak from Borussia not Dortmund. And on Saturday, Joe Scally started and played the full 90 minutes as a wingback for Gladbach during their 2-2 draw with Werder Bremen. Pifak came off the bench for Gladbach around minute 79. Another player we were going to talk about was Leonard Maloney from Heidenheim, but he is injured with a dislocated shoulder. He might be done for the season. He might not come back till later on. Or by later on, I mean after the summer. So we're going to skip Leonard Maloney, and we're going to talk about Kevin Paredes from Wolfsburg. And on Saturday, Paredes started and played 82 minutes for Wolfsburg during their 3-0 win over Darmstadt. I was half watching this game, and Paredes was mainly playing as a left back in the first half. Then in the second half, he played more like a left winger. But good to know that he can play left back at a high level in the Bundesliga. Now we're going to leave Germany and go to Spain to talk about the Americans that play in La Liga. The first one being Luca de la Torre from Celta de Vigo. And on Sunday, Luca started off the bench and was subbed in at halftime for Celta de Vigo during their 3-2 win over Villarreal. Luca hit a shot on the post or off the post, and he has become a backup for Celta de Vigo. That is true. That is for sure. But the good news here is that Celta is pretty much safe from relegation at this point after defeating Villarreal 3-2. The second and last American that we have in Spain is Johnny Cardoso from Real Betis. On Sunday, Johnny started and played 74 minutes for Real Betis during their 2-0 win over Osasuna. Again, another great performance from Johnny. He was subbed out around minute 74 to get some rest. They were already up 2-0 while playing man up. He adapted very well and very quickly to La Liga. He's also expected to have an even more important role for Real Betis next season because Guido Rodriguez is expected to leave. Now, there is also a slight chance that Johnny could leave this summer and get a move. There have been a lot of inquiries from big clubs, from Spain, Italy, including Milan. Betis wants around 30 million euros for him, so if a club offers that amount this summer, he's likely gone. If someone offers 30 million euros, the odds of Johnny Cardoso staying are slim. So could he leave this summer? Yes. Does Johnny want to leave this summer? No. He wants to stay another season with Real Betis, but you just never know. Now let's go to France and talk about Fullerton Balogun from Monaco. And on Saturday, Balogun started off the bench and was subbed in at minute 66 for Monaco during their 4-1 win over Clermont Foot. And I know this may shock many of you, but Balogun actually wasn't bad. He wasn't brilliant, but I thought he was decent to good, which has been kind of rare this season. And I'm going to repeat this. He wasn't brilliant by any means, but he looked fine this game. He had a good moment or two in combination play. He also made a good diagonal run where Ben Yedder found him with a through ball. Balogun tried a left-footed diagonal shot, but it was saved by the goalkeeper. The shot wasn't terrible, but he could have done better. Very late in the game, Balogun also had a good goal-scoring opportunity from close range, but again, the finishing was meh. It wasn't very strong or well-placed, so the goalkeeper saved it. Balogun was good in combination with his off-the-ball movement. His pressing was good. It's just that finishing, man. It really has to improve. But listen, y'all know that I'm not a stat nerd. I'm just a nerd, but not a stat nerd. There's a difference. Like a stat nerd uses just stats or advanced analytics to argue soccer. A nerd is just a guy like me that watches a lot of Pokemon, Star Wars, anime, and has no friends. But listen to this. Balogun has 7 goals scored this season on a 10.9 XG, which means he should have had something close to 11 goals based on the advanced analytics. He's underperforming his XG. And even last season, where he scored 21 goals, which was amazing, by the way, he underperformed his XG because he had a 26.6 XG, which means he probably should have had somewhere around 26 to 27 goals. My point, he's a good player, but the finishing has been consistently poor, and the eye test matches the advanced analytics. Okay, now we are done with the top 5 leagues. We're going to go to the Netherlands and talk about the Americans that play in the Eredivisie. The first one being the PSV boys, Ricardo Pepi, Malik Tillman, and Serginho Dest. And on Sunday, PSV got a 4-2 win over Sparta Rotterdam, and they have officially won the Eredivisie this season. They have won their domestic league. Malik Tillman started for them this match, and Ricardo Pepi came off the bench and even got the assist for their 4th goal. Serginho Dest was obviously unavailable due to a torn ACL, but he was crucial throughout their campaign. Congratulations to all of them, and I guess congratulations to Richie Ledesma as well, because he was there, I guess. That's all I can say. Also, massive props to Ernie Stewart. He has done tremendous work as the soccer director at PSV. And man, look at those moves. The dude has a 9.5 out of 10 aura, can build a tremendous team, and party like Ronaldinho. And after his successful work with PSV, and then we hired Matt Crocker as the sporting director, obviously, in U.S. Soccer, that rehired Greg Berhalter. It just leads me to believe that Ernie Stewart was probably not allowed or not able to do his thing at U.S. Soccer. That's my theory, because he seems far too competent to hire Greg Berhalter. And Matt Crocker came in, and he also hired Berhalter. So there's some fishy stuff there, you know. But I'm going to end it right there. Let's move on and talk about Taylor Booth from Utrecht and Paxton Aaronson from Vitesse, because they clashed over the weekend. And on Sunday, Taylor started and was subbed out at halftime for Utrecht during their 1-0 win over Vitesse. As for Paxton Aaronson, he started and played the full 90 minutes for Vitesse during this 1-0 loss. Next up, we have the Americans that play in the 2nd Division of England, the first one being Josh Sargent from Norwich. And on Saturday, Sargent started and played 82 minutes for Norwich during their 1-0 loss to Birmingham City. Regardless of the loss, Norwich has qualified to the playoffs, worth a spot in the English Premier League. For the semifinals, they will face Leeds United. Sargent versus Leeds. Listen, I got nothing personal against Leeds, but an American keeping them in the 2nd Division of England would be freaking hilarious. Also, add the fact that Norwich's manager or coach, David Wagner, is also American. I don't know, I think that might trigger a few people. With that said, let's move on and talk about Haji Wright from Coventry. And on Saturday, Haji started and played the full 90 minutes for Coventry during their 2-1 loss to Queen Park Rangers. And Haji got the assist for Coventry's goal. He beat Reggie Cannon on a 1-1 down the left flank. He hit a nice left-footed cross to get the assist. Haji ends his EFL Championship season with 16 goals and 7 assists in 44 games played. A truly remarkable season for Haji Wright that played mostly as a winger. Last but not least in England, we have Ethan Horvath from Cardiff City. Actually, not England, in Wales, the country. And on Saturday, Ethan Horvath started and played the full 90 minutes for Cardiff City during their 5-2 loss to Rotherham United. Still in the UK, we have Cameron Carter-Vickers from Celtic. And on Saturday, Carter-Vickers started and played the full 90 minutes for Celtic during their 3-0 win over Hearts in the Scottish League. Now listen, I know there are Americans in the Italian 2nd Division, the Serie B, fighting for promotion, with Como that has Nico Gioacchini, and Venezia with Tanner Tessman and Gianluca Busio. Don't worry, next week we will cover them. Venezia still could get promoted directly without the playoffs, so we'll keep you all posted. Last but not least, we have the Americans that play in Liga MX. Not because I wanted to cover them, but because all of you pressured me into covering them. And here's the news. The Americans did not play this weekend. The Liga MX playoffs start during the midweek, and all 3 Americans are in the quarterfinals. Club America will play against an opponent to be determined at the time of this recording, since they were the first seed, the best team in the league. Chivas, that has Cade Cowell, will play Toluca, and Monterrey will play Tigres. That's a big one right there for Brendan Vasquez. I'm probably going to be watching Monterrey and Tigres. The other matches, We'll see. Maybe I'll follow more in the semifinals. We'll talk about that on a week-to-week basis. All right, everyone. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to drop a like before you go. And thank you, everyone that joined our Patreon or supported the channel in any way, shape, or form. Which, again, hitting the like button is a way to support the channel for free. Also, dropping a random comment for the YouTube algorithm helps quite a bit. Thank you very much for watching, and have a great day.